Killer Pumpkins is a creation of illustrations and designs of evil pumpkins that I developed basically as greeting cards for my family. It started out as simple greeting cards that I had a lot of fun with, and over the years we kept producing them as large prints and putting them around the house. And inevitably in time, as my clients that come into my office would notice these pictures and often ask about them and where could they get one. And that turned into at least the beginnings of what Killer Pumpkins really is now, which is the story. So I created a background story to make a little more sense into where these evil pumpkins could have derived from, and started to have some fun with it. It really kind of goes back in time to a more primitive medieval time period. There was a king and his men, and there was this kind of a presence and evil that would come once a year trying to take hold on mankind at that time. The transition that it made from greeting cards to more of a fine art was just my continuing enjoyment of doing what I was doing. And seeing what's out there and how I fit into this industry also helped to mold how I was going to approach this whole project. And of course then my whole direction of these illustrations and designs got even more detailed, and people have expressed, wow, these are really, really neat. And I think it really captured a lot of childhood memories of what Halloween meant to them. The pumpkin is quite the icon for Halloween. I truly remember as a child walking up to the doors of homes, trick-or-treating, and then just looking at that jack-o'-lantern that was lit up, and the candle that was inside, and that little glow. That was something you could always remember. I use barns and middle America kind of a feel, and I think a lot of people associate Halloween with that, especially if you've been back east and you've been able to see what it's like in the fall. You know, I love color. I love fire. It's just a beautiful source of light that changes, and it's bright, and it's got different hues, and I think I've integrated that into my coloring, and I think colors look best when they're contrasted. Ambient light in some cases, or the light from a light source, which could be just the moon, and how it affects the surfaces of other things around it. And it also creates a mood and a feeling. It's that cool breeze and the leaves. I guess part of that's coming out now in my art. I get influenced by other art around me. There's a lot of great artists out there that I've followed for some time, and I look at a lot of their works and I get influenced by their style of designing and art as well. I assume to a certain degree what I think it'll look like in color, but it's an evolution. I start with a pencil sketch, and then I scan them in, and then I actually paint them on the computer after that. I've used Photoshop for years, and I think that layers have been very helpful, you know. So a lot of layers. It gives me a lot of options to work with. Family is what I live for. We do everything as a family. We have traditions. I think that's probably how I got to loving Halloween so much. I'm just real happy and fortunate that I have such a great family, and also that I'm doing something that they're interested in and they find exciting. My colorful, more whimsical work will take about a couple of weeks. I'll go in and out of the piece, and I'll add some details to it and embellish, and I'll take some time off and go back and look at it again. I'll post it sometimes on my website, even take it down and do a little bit of extra work on it as well. When I first started, I actually did a lot of arts and crafts shows, and there was no particular theme or subject matter to these shows other than just a whole bunch of people getting together for some food and music and a bunch of vendors selling their wares. And after a couple of years, we knew we were going to be more specific to our genre, which would be more fantasy, horror related. Most of these shows have a combination of buyers that come in, but for the most part, they're the true hardcore, you know, horror type enthusiast. I don't think I fall completely into that category, because a lot of my work is a little more fun and really not so hardcore, but I do have some work that is. The whimsical stuff is my way of bringing the color into it, because, you know, you're going to see colors that are just not of this earth, really. I mean, they're going to be a little bit elaborated and embellished, exaggerated, and the whimsical nature of my work, you know, supports that. There's the fantasy element, you know, that we want to take it out of the reality of the world. So when you look at a piece of mine, of my artwork, you know, we'd like to say that this is the way Halloween should be. I'd like to see that one day a group of children could be trick-or-treating in a neighborhood and walking by a house on their way to trick-or-treating to the next home and say, "Look, Mommy, those are killer pumpkins."
Come on in, children. There's plenty to do.